Hey, everybody. Good morning, and good morning. Welcome to today's installment, Thursday's installment of Bathrobe Moment. Oh, Lord. Can you guys hear that? Hold on. There we go. How's everybody doing today? I'm always doing something, misclicking, unclicking, reclicking, whatever it is. First thing off the top, so I can get that senior moment that is inevitably going to show its and rear its ugly face off the table. So we got one down. I'm ringing the bell of purpose on that. I'm embracing my senior moments now more and more. That's what some of this sheltering in place and quarantining has helped me to do. It has helped me to say, you know what, I could give a damn. Seriously. Um, I'll tell you this though. You want to hear something funny? The other day, this is how bad quarantine is getting for Lauren. I swear this happened. I was on the phone with Aaron Hymas, the president of E360, and it had been about 15 minutes, and I was like distracted. I'm walking around like, uh-huh, okay, uh-huh. And he was like, you know how you can tell when somebody's not paying any attention to you, that they're pretending like they are. I was very clearly obvious about I wasn't paying attention. So he goes, Lauren, I'm just gonna stop real quick. Um, uh, are you okay? I said, yeah, but I'm panicking. And I'm doing this right now. I said, "I'm panicking." He goes, "Why?" I said, "Because I can't find my phone." And he was like, "Well, how many do you have?" I was like, "1. Why do you think I'm so panicked?" Right. I mean, it's one thing when you have glasses on top of your head or you walk into a room and you go, "What am I coming here for?" But when you're talking into your phone and you can't find it, shaking my head. Anyway, real story, it happened. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the bathrobe moments. We have a great show today. I am so excited to have caught up with today's guest because he's a hard one to catch. And I caught him right before he packed up and moved to Phoenix, Arizona in a day or two. So I speak of Reed Barrett, in case you guys wonder who I'm talking about. Did you see the promo? He's been on the show before. You're in for a real treat today. And put up with my little missteps here and there. It's part of live TV. And we are, in fact, streaming live across Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Android, Apple TV, Periscope, and of course, from our home base in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, E360 TV Live. I want to say good morning and top of the day to my sponsor for this week. That is, oh, let me get you on the screen. Where are you? There you go. Today's episode is powered by Symposium.us. Symposium.us, where conversation becomes currency. Get over and download the app today and take a look at all of the great opportunities. I, for one, have made income over 20 times on Symposium.us over the last few years. Everything from mini masterminds to live streams of my events, the Power of We Symposium, the Next Impactor, collected all of our votes for all of our top 25 competitors last year for the Next Impactor, did it all through Symposium.us. I've done master classes, cooking classes, all kinds of things. And there are people today that need to create another income stream. I'm telling you, get over and take a look. Whatever you're good at is going to serve you well with Symposium.us. I have clients now who are doing story time for kids that are homeschooling. They're tutoring kids who are at home when parents have subjects that they're just not good at. Vision boarding classes, cooking classes, music classes, you name it. Don't panic. I'm just saying this because you guys know how I am about this pandemic. It's not here for us to panic. It's here to remind us that there's gold in them dar hills. Find yourself. Find everything that you've got. Bring it to the table. This is where it all comes together. This is that time in your life where it all begins to make sense. Okay? So we don't fear. We move from a place of faith. And our guest today knows all about that because he's been told no many times regarding his dream. It's just not going to happen. Yet he's packing up to go to Phoenix because it is happening. So that's what I love about this guy. I'm going to give you a little peek into what I first saw about him. And you guys know that I sing and got my little album back up on the wall back there. And when I started a few years ago, this was the only other person I saw that had incorporated some type of entertainment piece, if you will, inside of their messaging and their keynoting and their influence package. And so I was very encouraged because I was like, well, good. Maybe that means I can sing at the end of my keynotes. And I'll tell you what, that first year, 319 paid speaking gigs, and I sang at the end of every single one of them. Here we are a few years later, hitting almost creeping up on 1,000. So got to do something right in there. Had to, right? And this guy was my muse, was my light at the end of the tunnel, believe it or not, when I was getting started. So let's take a look. Bear with me. You know how I am about clicking things into place. I think I can do this one though. So we'll see. Let's take a look. Here we go.
There's certain people that are speakers. They want to get up on stage, they want to have the microphone, they want to have the spotlight. But there are other people who have a heart for people. Reed has a heart for people.
Doubt is the thing that we just live with. That's something that happens to us all. If we can take that doubt and turn that into motivation and make leadership, the next proponent of your life to take you to the next level, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure you're living the dream you've wanted to, and that you're not living by the opinions of somebody else, but by your own opinion of yourself.
Please do me a huge favor and give it up for Mr. Reed Bear.
Magic has always been just an amazing part of my life. I get to do tricks at the Bellagio. I've performed all over the U.S. and in Costa Rica. So when I get to see somebody come out of their own reality and into something new, and I get to speak behind it with motivation and leadership, it makes magic much more than a trick. It actually turns it into a real lifetime reality that they're seeing in front of them, and it's helping them cope with and develop their own leadership aspects.
It was crazy. My mind was blown, and I would totally do this again next year.
Now, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've not seen a better speaker than Reed Barrett. A simple style and a little bit of humor in there, along with the magic, along with the powerful messaging.
In my logo at the very bottom, it says, "Your heart's beating. Give it a reason."
How's it going, Loren? I can't hear you at all. I think you're soft.
Wait a minute. I have muted my mic. I muted my mic because I know me. I'll forget I was trying to see, Lord Jesus, I'm ringing the bell. I was trying to avoid my second senior moment of the day because I know there's somebody somewhere with a chalkboard, put them up, and they got all those crisp, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, row after row, because I do it every day. So I said, okay.
Espresso in that coffee.
Well, Lord, because you know what'll happen? I'll get all entwined and ingrained in watching the video.
Yeah.
And I'll start talking and stuff like I'm at home in front of Netflix.
Yeah.
And or I'll start talking to myself.
Yeah.
During it, and you guys will hear stuff you probably shouldn't hear, like, I have got to remember to clip my toenails today. I'll say some shit like that. I'm serious. So that's why I muted it, but then I senior moment forgot to unmute it. Take my hand. But anyway, all is well. Garland Hicks. Well, oh, well, how are you, little cookie? That was a kid I remember who was about this big. Right. Met him when I first found my biological family all those years ago. Nice to see you, Garland. Thanks for popping in, D Bell, all and all the rest of the people. I am really excited to have you, Reed. This is an exciting time to have you here.
Yes. Yeah, it's fun.
At a time when most of us, good morning, honey, at a time when most of us are rooted in our seats, and the Ferris wheel that we're on is stuck. Mm-hmm. We're stuck at the top of the Ferris wheel in the little car, going back and forth because the world has stopped. Not for you. No. Here you are, packing up, about to relocate from where to where?
Right now I'm at Vance Air Force Base in Oklahoma, and I'll be relocating to Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix, Arizona.
Is the wind sweeping down the plane?
You know what? The first day I got here, the wind was absolutely gnarly, probably at least 50, 60 miles an hour. But today it's calm. It's beautiful. I can see the American flag just whistling in the wind out there. So it's a nice day for jets to fly today.
So that line from the song Oklahoma, that's real?
Oh, it's very real. But
Oklahoma, when the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
right, that's right. It's real. It's real.
For those of you currently casting musical theater spots. So anyway, right. Are you excited to get what a difference from Oklahoma to
Mhm.
Phoenix? And you know, I was stationed in Phoenix for a while, for a
Yeah,
minute. You're gonna love Phoenix.
I can't wait.
Hot though, really hot.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that it's getting hot, and so I can't wait to see the electricity bill after the AC gets kicked on in the house.
Awesome. That August it's gonna be bad. If you have AC, you might get stuck in a place. Are you living on base?
No, no, me and my buddy got
Oh,
a
okay.
house in Surprise. So
Okay. Oh, surprise, surprise. Well, listen, and you're also, in my opinion, still a newlywed.
yes,
How
yes,
long have you been married?
3 years.
See,
3 years.
because you got married right before I did.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
we
we
did.
we were watching looking at your wedding pictures with a magnifying glass because you had a lot. I'm gonna tell you something. You did that. You got yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we did too, but I don't think anybody topped our weddings.
no, no, they didn't. There's no way. There's no way.
Right,
And
right. I remember. I was like, damn. Right,
I,
right, right. Well, congratulations on that. So, is she not relocating with you? How's that all gonna work?
due to COVID-19 and because she's
Oh,
a pharmacist, she's considered an essential healthcare worker with her pharmacy. She manages the pharmacy there in Denver. So while she's there doing that, and because B course is coming so close, it's easier for us to kind of keep where we're at right now because if she comes, it's a mandatory quarantine for the both of us.
hey,
So just starting B course and everything, it's better to start the course, get moving, and then once COVID starts to get lifted and we see travel restrictions maybe lighten up and we can get her out here, that's something we might look at. But right now, we're just focused on keeping the same trajectory, and then eventually we'll be in Washington D.C. together
nice.
January forward.
Well, listen, I want to talk about you're 27 years old. You're currently headed to Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix, like we said, to fly the F-16,
Mhm.
which is a fighter jet.
Yes, yes,
Um,
get out there.
yeah. So, you're a member of the Washington D.C. Air National Guard, and there's other things. You've done quite a bit of stuff. Tell people about this dream. You're a speaker, and you are a magician. You performed at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, which is a ghost town now?
I can't believe it. I feel for all of my friends and
Oh my God.
worked out there professionally or just in general right now. I think this has really put a damper on the entertainment industry and the ability to go travel and do these shows and make money for a lot of these families. So
Right,
for every
right.
casinos and everybody who works in the entertainment industry.
Well, before we get deep diving into the Reed Barrett story and all, I want to remind everyone of this new little ditty, which is new this year, season 4. This is our Bell of Purpose, which means when I ring it, it is your opportunity to become a part of something bigger than yourself. You're going to see something like this go up on the screen.
Oh, I love it.
Let's show our guests some love. Hit those hearts, okay? Or you might see this little one. Every time you send a heart, an angel gets their wings. So that means what it means really though, it's a chance for everybody. You may not think this is important, but when you hear the spell, you can start a watch party. You can invite some friends. You can just share the broadcast out. What we're saying to our guests is that listen, Reed, we are loving what you're putting down. We're picking it up. Can I get a name man up in here? Thank you, Jesus. Whatever it is, we're supporting by showing that when we put hearts and stuff up on the screen, it's really our way of applauding. So, and also when you guys throw comments up that are bell worthy, you're going to hear the bell and we're going to support each other. We are next to each other, not above or below. Keep that in mind. We're not in competition with each other. We're in competition with time because we're trying to get her done, right or wrong. There we go. Bell of Purpose right here on Bathrobe Moments. So, Reed, tell everybody. I want to know first of all, when did you discover your love for magic? Were you one of those little boys who got the magic kit for his birthday or had a guy perform at his birthday party and then decided that's me?
No, I was a kid whose dad knew a trick, and it was a very simple trick. It used a dollar bill. I'll just use this AirPod case. He took the dollar bill. He placed it in his hand and he made it vanish. And it was really, it was cool because he was hiding it in his other hand the whole time. But to me, I didn't see it, and it looked like a dollar bill vanished, from thin air. And I had just been maybe 8 years old at the time when he did that. And from that point forward, I was so infatuated with it. He would do everything he could to take me to the library and get books. Got me a trick at it's a Harry Houdini magic store in Vegas. They're commercial. They're everywhere. Got a trick where a card would levitate around my body. Took me around Vegas, and I would just do it while I was walking by people, and it was cool to see the reactions. And I'm sure they knew there was a string hanging because it's an 8-year-old boy doing the magic trick, not a professional. So
Right.
react very kindly, and I loved that. And it was a chance for you to take somebody out of their reality and put them into a really cool new reality where magic made sense and magic was really neat. So I love doing it every single time I can. And yeah, it started from just a real simple dollar trick that my dad showed me a long, long time ago.
So which came first? The magic inside, the magic standalone, and then when you started speaking, you said, "Hey, what a great way to incorporate two things I love." I'm kind of thinking that's the way it went.
Yeah, I did the magic, and it was fun. I liked it. The one thing I didn't like about it was that people would come up and say, "Hey, I've seen my uncle do something similar," and et cetera, et cetera. And you're like,
Oh.
I don't want to be like Uncle whatever. I want to set myself apart. And I've always enjoyed speaking to crowds. So I joined Toastmasters, realized that there was a real opportunity to grow inside of it, and ended up on the cover of the magazine just last year.
Yes, and did a commercial.
Yes, yeah, I did a few commercials for him. So this goes to
Hashtag my why.
Oh, you got it. You remember.
Look, dude, I don't forget shit. Well, not stuff that matters. I'll forget my name or what room I'm in or where my phone is as I'm talking on it. But
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. So that's hilarious. You realize that there's more avenues than one, and there's more cars that you can drive than just the single one you're given. So I did that, and I took the keys to every car I could, and I drove them, and I found out where success led me, and it happens to be, right here at the completion of IFF and UPT, which is pilot training, and then a fighter fundamentals course, and still the ability to carry a conversation that might resonate with a few people out there in the world.
All right. So listen, let's talk about that for a second about Toastmasters and how you got your start. So correct me. I'm trying to understand. So you, before the Reed that we saw in the opening clip, before him, you were just a guy going to Toastmasters?
I was just a guy going to Toastmasters and just trying to work on public speaking, just like everybody else.
And what'd you have to do to get it to land on the cover?
Well, right. I sent.
And feel free to name names.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh wait, that didn't come out right.
Feel free to name names. Tell me exactly.
Well, especially after I say what did you have to do?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what qualifies one to land on the cover? Because I got a couple covers too back there, but not Toastmaster.
Yeah, I think what qualifies someone to be on the cover is a good story. Just something that makes you stand out. And I think my travels through magic and speaking, and then now the Air Force, and I think there always has to be a downfall at somebody. I'm sorry, at some point.
Sure.
Because that's what gets people kind of tuned into you, and that's what gets people to want to hear about what's going on is a little bit of a downfall that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
They resonate with that. That's human, right? We all screw up at some point, or something happens to us, and it kind of puts us on the back burner for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened to be a case for me where the Air Force said no, and I was able to 6 years later or 4 years later get back in and live my dream, even though there was no reason or no wherewithal that should have occurred.
Right.
Without pushing forward. And so I think that's what they liked about that a lot. So got very lucky.
Well, when it comes to telling one story and expressing, and a lot of people that get up on the bigger stages and do their thing, help me clear up what I know is a huge misconception. A lot of people think in order to do what we do, that they need to have the woe is me story. My leg got severed when I was 14 and they put it back on and I became downhill skiing champion of the world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people come up to me and they go, "Oh, I want to do what you do." But I didn't have 22 mothers. I'm like, and there are a lot of people. So talk about that. When you went to Toastmasters, were you thinking, when you were first, okay, let's put it this way, when you were thinking about becoming a speaker, did you think, what did you think you were bringing to change the world? What was your message going to be about? And how did you find that? And what is it?
Yeah, I think initially it was hard to find that message because, like you said, you're looking at everybody else and you're comparing yourself to other speakers, which is something you don't really want to do because every buyer is different, right? Every consumer is different.
Hmm.
So you don't want to be like everybody else. So stop comparing yourself to everybody else and let you do your own thing. So my big thing was I wanted to be a young speaker, right? I was looking at all these people who were successful and they were older, and that's okay. They're just more established. But I wasn't saying, I see you, I see you.
Well, I didn't start till I was 51, 50,
Well,
yeah, 52. So I get it.
and you can confer with this too. You can say a lot of the well-established speakers are just older, and it makes sense, right? It takes time to become established. But I wasn't seeing people who were in their mid-20s or early 20s who were out there actively doing this.
True.
And I was seeing a lot of high schools being talked to by somebody who was older and who wasn't closer to their age or maybe closer to their high school graduation that could say like, hey, 5 years ago I was in your spot.
Right.
You know?
That's a good point.
Like that's missing. That this needs to happen, right? Somebody has to be able to connect on a deeper level for these guys. And I thought, okay, I've got my heart condition right. I got kicked out of the Air Force. I do magic now. I've had a successful career in the magic field. I've worked in Vegas. That'll be enough, right? That'll be good enough to show that I was kicked out of one dream job and now I'm living another. But halfway through that, a buddy of mine, Ryan Sharp, he said, you should still apply to the Guard. And getting into the Air National Guard and getting to compete still, because pilot training is a constant competition, and you're competing to get to where you want to go. So it was another opportunity for me to say, here, look, I got kicked out before. I've done this now, and I've done it again. And there's no reason you can't do your things again if somebody tells you no. So
Now
yeah.
everybody's sitting there reading. Sorry for butting in. Get used to it.
You're fine.
I already know when people say, "Oh, you're going on Bathrobe Moments with Lauren." Get ready, because he's gonna step all over everything. He's gonna butt in and right. So I already know. My ears burn too, y'all. I'm just saying. So anyway, I know people are sitting at home right now going, "Did he say heart condition?" Yes, he did say heart condition. So turn the car around. Let's go back to that spot and tell everybody about that, because you thought that was gonna for a long time there. I remember my heart cried for you several times, because you were really vulnerable and you took us on that journey with you.
Yeah.
The agony of defeat and being rejected, and then saying, but then you didn't stop.
Yeah.
Talk about that, this heart condition thing. And do you feel, Reed, the fact that you were open and honest, and let's just let the world in on your dream being crushed? Did that have anything to do with you saying, you know what, I'm getting back up anyway. I don't care what they tell me. I'm gonna find my way through this, not around it, not over it. I'm not getting underneath it. I'm going through it. And look at you, getting ready to go and live that dream. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have what's called the bicuspid aortic valve, which is essentially in your aortic valve is shaped more like just a line through it instead of most, which is a normal Mercedes-Benz symbol inside of on the valve is what it really looks like.
Okay.
It didn't look like that, so it causes a little bit of regurgitation back into the ventricle, which can lead to the deterioration of the valve. Do you remember John Ritter?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Three's
John,
Company.
yeah, so he had what they now call it Ritter's 8 Simple Rules, because he was on another show, 8 Simple Rules, and he had a bicuspid aortic valve, which led to an aneurysm of the ascending aorta, which ultimately killed him, but he didn't know about it. And so a lot of these heart patients who have this often live a life and never know that they have a bicuspid aortic valve. They discovered mine as a little child, and then later down the road, they said, Reed, you're good. We don't see this anymore. You're fine. You're very normal. So I went, okay, fine. I'm going to go join the Air Force. I'm going to go be a fighter pilot. Well, then come after, getting selected and everything, they said, oh no, it's still there. Sorry, we misread your echocardiogram that we did. And so I called the Air Force, my home detachment, and said, look, here's the deal. Within about 6 months, I was gone. It was done. It was all over. So that hurt. because you're like, what the heck am I going to do now, right? I just spent all this time working for this dream. It was gone, quicker than, I could say, off we go into the wild blue yonder.
Well, and let's just hit that for a minute. A lot of people, that's the kind of dream. I just want people to understand. Let's get clear here. The dream of being a fighter pilot it's not like, okay, I got that, and I'm going to massage therapy school, and you don't have room for once that's the commitment, that's all you get to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that demanding.
Mhm.
Because it's this many people make it there. This many.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, so they tell you no.
Mhm.
How come you didn't listen?
Well, I think it'd be stupid to listen. And I think I did listen for a few months. I think I thought, you know what? Yeah, they're right. This is serious. My dad had passed away from a heart attack on his 50th. So hearts resonate a little bit different with me in that respect, because I knew people who passed away from it. And go ahead.
So listen, because I forgot to ask this. So the heart thing, they say no because if you're all this cabin pressure and all the different things, I know you got all those hours in the simulator and all kinds of things you have to do, turning upside down, and I couldn't do it because I'd be like, what were they afraid of? That like you'd have a heart attack through all that stress? Because you have to do stress tests and stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, so the big thing was the G forces that they were scared about.
Oh.
Because, we in the T-38 you're tested up to 7.5 times your body weight, and then in the F-16 we did 9 times our body weight for 30 seconds.
That's when it makes your face too.
Pretty much, it's a free facelift given to you by gravity.
I know, right? Look at you. Do a selfie right in the midst of it.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
So we did that, and they were concerned about the weightlifters, bodybuilders, who are at a big risk for this, because you're putting stress on your heart and you're exerting a lot of power through it. And so that was their big concern, was that if you're going to be trying to breathe and force your self to stay conscious during this entire thing, we're worried it's going to affect your aorta. Well, the Air Force had done a ton of studies on this a while ago, and they knew that you were at a 2% increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest, which is very low. It's a very low risk. And my gosh, I was more than happy to take that risk if that meant that I could fly the F-16 and go full afterburner and really experience my dream. So I talked to him, like I said, my buddy Ryan Sharp, who encouraged me to keep applying. And so 4 years later, sent in the applications, and then now we're here.
Wow. Let's get some hearts on the screen. I'm going to tell you something. Not many people would have gone, because you could have gone back down that road again just to have the door slammed in your face again.
Yeah, and that was a big thing to me, was that if you tell me no, you're not doing anything to me. You're telling me something that somebody already told me 4 years ago. So you hurt me this much, 0. So I'm going to hear as many no's as I possibly can until somebody, because somebody's going to tell you yes, right? You just got to be willing to push until someone tells you yes.
So your primary dream then has always been to be this fighter pilot.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a fighter pilot since I was a little kid.
Since you were a little kid. Yeah. So Reed, how's it feel now and how, I believe in purpose, so I'm doing air quotes because it's not by chance or anything, but how interesting, let's put it that way, that as you are embarking and ready to take off on this new dream, this dream you've always had, the door now is right there. Then this damn pandemic. Were you like, I'll be God damn.
Well, it really
I almost said the N word. I was like, at your break. I'm like, I mean, really, how's that feel that they kind of have overlapped all this work up to that? Boom, here I go. And you get ready, you hit the trampoline ready to fly, and you ran right into a wall.
Yeah, well, we're still lucky, but we did hit quite a wall, especially in the fighter fundamentals course that I was just in. COVID really put a stop, not a total stop, because we're considered mission essential, so we're not gonna stop. But the training was kind of broken up into you would fly 1 week and you'd be off the next week. And then, I got put on a 14-day quarantine because my wife came to visit me. and she was from a high risk area, which I understand, totally understand it.
Yeah.
But it put my training, delayed me. So my class graduated 1 week, and the next week after, I was still trying to complete my last 3 rides to graduate on time. So it was
Typical Reed Barrett style.
that's right. That's
Gotta
right.
do it different.
That's right. If you're not doing it different, you're not doing it right.
Right.
And so I did that, and yeah, COVID sucks. It sucks. This is a crappy situation for the entire world. There's no doubt about it.
Really is.
And
And let me just say right here, because I want to know how you feel about this.
yeah,
I mean, think about it. All this pre-time, the first no, thank you, take your ass home. You got a bad heart, and then I'm coming back anyway. All that was pre-pandemic.
mhm,
That was that you were preparing to do what you're preparing to do, but you were preparing it for a different world.
right.
Now you're still preparing to do it, but you're going to be doing it inside of a brand new world,
Yeah, I get to social distance at 40,000 feet. So I'm doing
right?
fine.
Is that why? So is that I was thinking that last time. I was like, well, how would they have been trained? Well, I said, well, who else is up there? That's the
Right.
best social distancing you can do. But have you actually flown a jet in the air yet?
Oh yeah, many. Well, not the F-16, but the T-38 Talon, which is a supersonic trainer. It's
Yeah, T-38s. They had those at Williams.
Yeah, so I flew that. I probably got close to 105 hours in the T-38.
You
Um,
wasn't scared?
I mean, at first you're a little nervous. You especially on your first solo. It's about 6 rides, and then you're by yourself for the next ride. Just to it boosts. It's a real quick way to get your confidence up if they send you solo that quick. And it's the same way in the F-16. It's about 4 or 5 rides, and then you're solo.
It looks really intimidating, Reed, when you look at when you're looking over the shoulder of a pilot and you
Mhm.
see all that
Yeah, no,
gibbity goo, all those gadgets.
it is intimidating, and it was intimidating for me at the beginning too. But every new airplane is like a new car. Everything is generally the same, but they're just in different places. The switches are in different places, and there might be a different mission set, but the general overall purpose of an aircraft, for the most part, is the same. So if you understand the basics of it, then you can get inside, you can learn and apply what you know, and become a great pilot. And that's where the Air Force came in with such phenomenal training to get us prepped and ready to go rather quickly.
Do you practice ejecting?
We don't practice ejecting. We walk through it and we talk about the checklist that we have for it, and how to position your body, and where to eject, and what to do with the airplane before you eject, so that you're in a safe position and you increase the likelihood of a successful ejection.
So, and how many hours in the simulator have you had to do?
Oh my gosh.
Is there a simulator for every plane?
Yes, yeah, they have a simulator for every plane.
Okay.
And just depending on what you go to, they'll have simulators there. But I mean, they're full encompassing 360, or they're
Does it feel like you're really in a plane, Reed? I always wondered.
yeah, it does. Especially if you've never. The only thing it's missing is the G forces. Otherwise, everything's the exact same. When my family came down here for the graduation, and my wife was doing it, and her family was doing it, you could see them kind of go, whoa, because the whole screen is moving with you. So if you go upside down, it looks like you're going upside down. And
Oh, that would have been the end for me right there. Right
going
there.
up everywhere.
So does like if you do something wrong inside that simulator, because I used to stare at it from a distance when I was in the Air Force and go like, because it's like the playground you don't have access to.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
right. And I always wondered, does when you go on a mission or whatever you're doing in there to get from point A to point Z, if you do something wrong that could have cost you your life in real life, does it like tell you you just crashed?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll tell you if you've overg'd the aircraft, and then the sim instructors behind you who sit there on their computer or are watching
Oh,
the TV screen, they can select emergencies to occur at any point during the flight. So you might be flying along, and then all of a sudden you get a right generator failure, and then now you have
okay.
to diagnose it and figure out what to do next with the airplane, or they'll throw thunderstorms in front of you, and et cetera, et cetera.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
listen, now I'm sure this next question or the next series of questions is um for that kid, girl, boy, both, whatever, the kid who is at home that used to be you
Mhm.
saying, wow, I would love to be a fighter pilot, but that's just not in the cards for me or whatever. Now, when we see we've all seen, I have, that, some shows, Cuba Gooding Jr., one comes to mind, where he was trying to become a Navy SEAL. And
Mhm.
they showed all of the things that, how competitive, and at any minute you can get kicked out or ring the bell and quit
Yep.
and all this. Has it felt like that at all in this fighter pilot training? I would think it would be pretty competitive and very low, very a little room for failure or mistakes. And are
There's
you in a constant fear of getting kicked out, or recycled?
I think at the beginning you are, especially when you compete just to apply for the job in the Air National Guard, you're competing with usually more than 100 people at a time for one job with that unit. So it's very competitive there, and then it doesn't stop. Going through pilot training, you still have to finish in the top half of your class as a guard guy, and usually if
Oh,
you're active duty, you have to finish in like the top 3 or 4 spots of the class to get a T-38 to move on forward. So it's competitive,
and
but
so go ahead.
a good attitude will save everything. So if you have a really good attitude
There you
and
go.
if you study everything that they tell you to study and you come prepared to the briefings, you've got a great attitude, they're going to help you out. But if you come with a really bad attitude, you don't know your general knowledge of the aircraft, they're not going to help you. They see that you don't want it.
How long is it going to take you to complete this training, Reed?
I will be done in January of 2021 and then headed to survival school in Fairchild to go through the
Okay.
whole, survival, escape, resistance, and evasion. Do that, and then I'll be intermittently back in DC between that, getting ready for anything else that I do.
So survival school, let me guess. As soon as you said it, I was like, ew, that sounds like the place you go. Okay, now you know how to fly. Now, what happens if you get shot down and get captured?
That's exactly what it is.
I knew it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I go camp out in the woods for 5 days, and then you get captured and tortured and blah blah blah.
hey.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
So what does your world look like, Reed, once this is all done? You've TDY'd off to your, you see how I threw that little bit of Air Force lingo in there. Yeah. So you've TDY'd to your next spot. Um, What are you doing? Is your flight suit hanging inside the garment bag, like next to your wife's wedding dress in storage, and just waiting for, some alarm to go off on your phone or whatever? Reed Barrett, please report to the nearest tarmac. Reed Barrett. You know, I mean, is it like that, like a firefighter who's waiting for the alarm to go off in the station house, and you go about a regular life until what you're called to go and fight?
No, so you're well, as far as alert units go, you usually sit alert for X amount of hours, and in those X amount of hours, you could have an alert at your given base where you and another pilot jump in your F-16s and go intercept the jet, or do something that is centered around that alert that you were just given.
Huh?
But no, you're a full-time guardsman for the first 4 years, and you're just kind of getting your mission qual. You're going through your flight lead upgrade. You're maybe even becoming an IP, or you're getting a full-time AGR spot. Maybe looking at weapons school down the road. So there's lots of opportunities to stay full-time in the Air National Guard. But if you don't want to go full-time, then you would go out and do a normal civilian job, and then come back when required and keep up your currencies in the jet. A lot of guys are with the airlines, or they're VPs of companies, or they run their own company. So a lot of for like ranging jobs that exist in the Air National Guard for these people.
Well, you know, it would have to be. Even I went through that, and I was like, "Well, I'll be working in an office. I don't care." When I was like deciding about the military, because I knew, I mean, I didn't see myself with a machete and a M16, and
Yeah,
ready to, on a daily basis. Let's put it that way.
right.
Um, but doing what you're doing, you have to consider that the time could come where you're asked to really sit in that cockpit
Yeah.
and go and what is it? What kind of mindset? Here you are, a motivational speaker.
Mhm.
Dedicated to healing the world as any other. But then, in order to protect the borders and protect your country, you would have to pull some kind of screen down or something. Talk about that. What is that allows you to go in there and not be distracted,
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You can't be the kind of person like that. Me, you know why it wouldn't work? I see any little thing out in my peripheral. Ooh, what's that? What-
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my brain would be zigzagging because you know when I'm one of those people when I turn, everything turns.
Yeah.
The whole
Absolutely.
car. You know, if
Yeah.
I point to something, we're headed right over to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the car. Get back in your lane. Right. So I'm not kidding. So what is it? Have you ever imagined yourself like, should I have to go and war to war, and there's a dogfight between me and another plane?
Mhm.
Can I just blow that thing to smithereens right out of the air?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I could. There's no question in my mind that I wouldn't, not be able to do it. Because you're trained, and like I can only speak to the T-38, and I can't speak to the F-16 training so far. But I've done offensive basic fighter maneuvers. I've done defensive, and I've done surface attacks where we simulate dropping bombs. And it's a very you have to pay attention because if you don't pay attention, you lose the fight.
That's right.
Lose sight, lose fight is the big mantra there. If you can't see them, you're probably going to lose. You're probably going to die. So uh, if you can keep everything that they've taught you in the back of your mind and you can put it together when time comes and it's ready to go, then you're good. And you've got to be able to separate your emotions, right, from your job and understand that you signed up for a greater purpose than yourself. And there's a reason you're doing this. And that's, I've already accepted that. And I know that I'm willing to do whatever I have to do, given the opportunity and task order from whoever I get it from to execute the duties effectively and efficiently.
Well, and you know, you come from you come by it honestly. Great bones in that house, that Barrett house.
Yeah.
Uh, really, I'm talking about Frank, your
Yeah.
great grandpa. You
Yeah.
know, he did a lot of things tied into this country
Mhm.
and all things good for this country. Talk about him for a second. Well, I find him very interesting.
Yeah, so he was the first person. He was a trifecta of political offices. He was the governor, U.S. congressman, and a U.S. senator for the state of Wyoming, and
Oh,
held a pretty big influence in Washington D.C. and obviously in the state. There's a museum in our state now that's named the Barrett Museum after him, and
oh,
he got to work with Kennedy and many other presidents and political strongholds in the government. So he made a name for himself, and he really made the Barrett name something in Wyoming, and it's something we're all very proud of. And
could
it's
be.
you know,
Absolutely. We just rang the bell for great grandpa Frank, for real, for all the great things. And Reed, I want to say in advance, thank you for your service and all that you're doing. You're welcome. You're welcome. You, so you're newlywed, you don't have any kids yet.
Mhm.
Um, um, Here now you're moving into the dream zone. What do you see for yourself? What does the 45-year-old Reed Barrett look like? What's he doing?
I've thought about this over and over and over again, and there's so many routes that I would like to take. I would like to, be a professional keynote speaker and traveling all across the world and sharing a message of hope and determination and leadership for companies to spread to their employees. Then there's another part of me who wants to go to weapons school and be an instructor in the DC Guard and obviously pass down knowledge to younger pilots and encourage them to be the best that they can be, ready to go at any time. And then another part of me thinks that running, for a political office down the road would be a lot of fun. Back,
I think you're gonna do that.
there's a long way to go, but right now my main focus is just being the best pilot I can possibly be for my home unit, and make sure that they know that their investment they made in me was worth every single penny.
Oh, awesome. Let's put some hearts on the screen. I love that. So, Reed, your message, uh, what is it you usually get on the stage and talk about?
The thing I used to talk about before was facing hardship and how to overcome it. And it's specifically was for millennials is where my main focus was. But obviously, I was hired for a lot of companies who were just, an older population. And no matter what, that message can resonate with anybody. So it doesn't have to be young people. It can be of any age. Everybody's experienced a failure. But I was just kind of that catalyst to say, look, it's possible. But now, I haven't done a big keynote since I've been through all this. So my whole message has changed entirely from what it could be to what it could be now. And I'm excited to see where my next message is and who my clientele might exist with afterwards.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Not to put out a shameless plug or anything, but you do know that's what I specialize in, right?
I love it.
I
Send it.
do. That bread and butter keynote that gets you 14 million views. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, and it's all those little pieces, all those breadcrumbs, knowing which ones to pick up and put on the table. And you definitely have them. You definitely have them. So, um, really quick, let me switch the gear here and ask you a question that I really want you to think about.
Yeah.
Um, this this pandemic,
Mhm.
the way, I mean, we all know the obvious things, what it's doing, but I believe that I'm married to a therapist, so we talk about these kind of things, and I think it's really important for us to not start putting. I don't want to open up. I say to people, I don't want to open up my front door to my emotional world
Mhm.
the day after the all clear bell rings.
Mhm.
Open my front door to my emotional world, and I've got nothing but pods all over the property filled with PTSD, from what's going on under the bubble. I want to ask you from a safety spot and a global mindset, since you're in the military and whatnot, you hear things, you feel things
Mhm.
innately in yourself. You have to be a great pilot. It's all instinctive,
Yeah.
you know? So, how do you feel this pandemic is shaping us up to be less worse than we were going into it, or do you think as a collective we have a chance of becoming better uh, as a result of this and coming out the other side a better community of people? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I've thought about this really deep. I sometimes see it as a double-edged sword. Uh,
Yeah,
we are in this position of extreme vulnerability where people, once this veil is lifted and we're able to now go out and maybe meet half the capacity of a restaurant, or maybe go out and talk, in 3 feet, less than 6 feet, from a stranger. I worry that people are going to be very scared and nervous to make connections because of this virus that they can't see. It's an enemy we can't see, right? And
distrusting.
yeah, almost distrusting of is it really gone, or am I really about to endanger my family yet again?
Right.
But I also see the other side of it where we have an economy that absolutely needs the US to do whatever we possibly can to boost smaller communities all across the nation, right? Because they had to close down their businesses, they can't afford to pay their employees. So when we all understand that, we don't think that not one of us is just safe from this and able to ignore that it's really existing out there, and people are really losing their jobs and losing their homes, and some are losing their lives. So it exists out there, and as a community as a whole, we understand that. And I think
How,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, no, finish your thought.
We're going to come together bigger and stronger. But I want people to always remember that, you know, yes, this is scary. Yes, this is real. But when this is lifted, to try to be as normal as you possibly can, because that's where you were last, right? And
Mm,
and that's what you knew last, and that's what was comfortable for you last. So, and I know it's not going to happen like that. I know it's not going to happen like that. But I, for one, am going to treat myself the way I treated myself before, as normally as I possibly can, because that's what my mind knew for the past 27 years.
that's what I'm saying. And
And
a lot of people, I hear you saying normal, 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 and we're hearing that word thrown around a lot. At
Mhm,
least I am, and but it's a two-parter now.
mhm.
New normal. I'm hearing new normal.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you feel? You think it's going to be a new normal?
Yeah, I think to a point. I mean, it's just like airport security after 9/11, right? The new normal,
Mm,
families couldn't go to the gate. And
good point.
I don't know what this new normal is going to be. Maybe it's, I've heard Dr. Fauci say that we're not going to be allowed to shake hands. He doesn't want us to shake hands for a long time. I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to shake some hands because that's how you connect with somebody. You can't take the emotional connection away from meeting somebody
Well,
6 feet apart
yeah, you've already said you want to potentially go into politics one day, so of course you're going to shake hands and kiss a few babies.
and kiss a few babies. So yes, I think this is a very serious issue that our nation is facing, but I want people to remain, very calm about it and realize that science exists, right? There's going to be a cure eventually for this. Always remain smart. If you're going to have an opinion, make sure it's an educated opinion. My dad used to always say that, and I always carry that with me. So uh, do your research. Don't listen to everything on the news. Turn the news off every once in a while. and connect with your fellow peers, because that's where real learning takes place.
Amen. That's a good one there. Take that with you, everybody. And this is a great chance for me to throw in a quick shameless plug
Do it.
for I have a special airing next Wednesday, the 22nd, starts at 7:30 a.m. Central and goes all the way to 9 a.m. It's a 90-minute special entitled Forgotten Voices, the Youth of the Coronavirus Pandemic. We're going to be featuring elementary, middle, high school, university, college students
Mhm.
from all over the world. Um, uh, through the 90 minutes, they're going to be coming in and going out, just really speaking to us
Mhm.
about how this has shaped and affected their lives,
Mhm.
what their fears are, what their hopes are, and
That's-
they all have a message. They all have a voice. Even I have a 6-year-old boy who's coming on who feels he deserves to be heard.
well, he
And
does.
right. And even here's why. And this is what I was saying this to my husband last night, and he was like, "Oh, that's a good way of putting it. That's a great metaphor." But this is how I looked at it. We watch television and the good doctor that you just mentioned, and our president, and we see all these people that are making decisions. What they're doing, in my opinion, is they're responsible for turning the spigots on that are filling the pool.
Yeah.
However, it is you all, the youth, that are going to be forced to swim in that pool one
Yeah.
day. So I think it's important that you young people have a say so in what temperature that water is. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like all kids, all young people that are going to swim in that pool have an opportunity to speak things because, when kids talk, I go like this. I
Yeah.
lean in because they keep me like, oh, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the little ones, and you'll know that when you start having your basketball team
And
of children.
I always try to tell younger kids or teens or adults that no matter who the leader is, no matter what, right? If you were in an airplane, you would never root for that pilot to have a heart attack and die,
Oh no.
or have to have some event that would enable the control of the aircraft to be a disastrous outcome, right? You don't want that. You do not want the plane to crash. You root for the pilot, right? So no matter your affiliation with the political parties, no matter what, always root for somebody in a leadership position,
That's right.
pandemic or a time of disaster, because there are doctors and nurses and EMTs, paramedics, janitors, clerks at grocery stores right now who are doing everything they can to keep this economy running. And a real quick shout out to them, because they are the true superheroes behind why we are still going right now, right? They're holding down the fort. They're holding
That's
down
right.
the lines of hospitals, and God bless them for it. They're
Amen.
doing amazing, but always root for those people, because you want this to succeed. You do not want this to fail. Try to remain as positive as you possibly can, because you wouldn't want the pilot of your airplane to fail.
That's right. Jason Cisneros told me way back when I was in the middle of one of my events, I think Power of We Atlanta, getting it ready for, the show. And he said, Lauren, you got to keep it together. You have to imagine you're the pilot of the plane. You're
Yeah.
the one person who has to remain calm should
Mhm.
something start happening that's threatening the safety of the overall plane. And they're going to look to you. And that's so true. And that's why I love you, and I love that you do get back up anyway. Life has thrown you some curveballs, some sucker punches, as hit you when your back was turned. But nonetheless, instead of blaming and asking who hit me, who did it, show yourself. You just get back up and you keep it moving. Brush yourself off and keep on going. I love that about you. Please let us know when you've completed your training. Uh,
I
you
will.
know, you remind me of my friend Tammy, who's been working on her dissertation for 14 years. I'm just kidding, Tammy. It wasn't 14 years. I'm just saying, you wait for that day that you can celebrate and say, yes,
Yeah.
complete, complete. And I know that's right around the corner for you. I appreciate you taking time out of your day and your world to come and bless us here on Bathrobe Moments. Anything you want to say as we get out of here? We got about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Lauren, for having me, and for always being a voice for people
Uh,
around the world of motivation and leadership and encouragement, because Lord knows we need it every day
amen.
of our lives. So thank you for being you, Lauren, and always being a friend and a mentor to me.
Thank you so much. Everyone, if you'd like to continue the dialogue we started here today with Reed Barrett, just go to the link that you see right here on the screen, reedbarrett.com, and continue that, or you can find him on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Reed, Thank you. All my love and blessings to your family and your lovely bride.
Thank you,
Um,
Lord. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you. Good luck in Phoenix, and let us know how it goes.
All right, brother. Take care.
Okay, take care. Everybody, listen, I want to thank all of you for joining us here today. Get out there now and do what we do. Love up on everyone you can. And remember, in order to be effective with that, go to the nearest mirror first and love that person, and then turn and love the rest of the world. It's the best we can do. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris. Join me tomorrow. Crystal Crockett is my guest. She's got a nonprofit that is going to rock your socks when you hear about it. Crystal Crockett, right here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central. God willing, I'll see you out front on the porch. Have a blessed day. And most importantly, be the blessing.